Okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Everybody, respiremos, respiremos. Another deep breath. Another deep breath. Okay, let's do some shares. I don't know which SpongeBob is. Where's SpongeBob?
Here's another.
Okay, there we have here. Okay, the Avengers. Great. Okay, who wants to start sharing? What are you getting from this last session? From mass training?
I'm not sure what seminar. So Sam and I were talking about the ladder of engagement and how, I mean, it makes sense, that's what we have to do, but sometimes the most committed leaders are the ones that you do a crazy ass ask and they do it. Like somebody asked her to like climb and get arrested on top of a building when she had never been part of a direct action and she did it. And like I was thinking the way that I got involved in the movement, so I was in school, and when I applied for a job with United We Dream, I pretty much had a choice of dropping out or being able to work with what I wanted to do, so I dropped out of school to be able to do this full time. So like those kind of like really big, like that's how you can really find the leader. Like the letter of engagement is great, but sometimes you might be able to skip it and find an awesome person.
Me and Nancy were talking about like mass training, and for us in the immigrant rights movement, like we have a lot of Spanish-speaking leaders. So we're already thinking like, we're gonna have to translate, all this information and do like maybe a bilingual training for, the 5 to 7, people that we train first.
So, I am preparing advanced training already for the leaders in the teams that I have, which are 61 members, 8 main leaders, whatever. But I was thinking that I'm skipping the initiation training a lot because I'm so focused on the coaching and mentorship of these 8 leaders. So, but when they have teams, the teams can actually be doing the initiation training, to which right now it's Know Your Rights training, so how to have to confront an ex-officer or whatever whenever you come in touch with one, but they're not leading them into action. So it's basically just an information session more than what it is a training. So I am already like recreating the entire training in my head so that I can push the teams to start doing that while I'll concentrate on the advanced trainings. And just like, oh my god. So yeah, thanks for this.
Yay.
I just want to say that, like, I bow to your training greatness. Like, what you just said is such a complex, you have so much knowledge already about how to do training. It's amazing. I think United We Dream is so far ahead of so many other organizations in having a culture of mass training.
We are loving all the UWD shout-outs.
Yeah.
We need help. Yes.
Like I know they're good.
I'm reorienting right now over like really prioritizing training over like conversations with people and coaching and stuff. Because ever since I've been exposed to seeing their like No, because seriously, since I've been exposed to this material through the James Lawson Institute and working with the team and like all of this stuff, it's so important, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of people who I have relationships with through organizing that I really want to share this with, and I'm like a parrot, like I'm like, I tell everybody about like all of this stuff, and then I realize also that like even though they're excited about it and they understand, oh shit, there's something there, they don't totally get it. And like with this NYU Divest campaign, a fossil fuel divestment campaign that I support because like as an alumni or whatever. And I was involved when they started their campaign, like they're doing their summer strategy session, and I was looking over some of their plans, and I was like excited initially because they're using the word DNA, and I was like, they get it. And then I look at their thing, and I'm just like, no. I was just like, no, because they're focusing on like the president as a target, and like they're not building capacity to engage like more participation and stuff. And I was like, agitating one of the leaders about it. I was like, hello, like, what about the whatever? And she's just like, So I'm just really reorienting and thinking that like, if I actually want to get this stuff out to people and support them and help them develop and experiment like in a real way, that I need to prioritize getting them to trainings rather than talking to them about it and getting them excited.
That's good. Two more. So Curtis.
And that's not good to piggyback, but I'm a little bit off of that. It made me reflect, after we left the capital, occupation, I like slept on people's couches for a couple months because I didn't have a place to live. Our whole staff was like broke. But it was actually a great opportunity, and I would just kind of float it across the state. And one of the things I would do is spend time with our leaders and be like, all right, let's do a training. We would do like a 4-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour training just on one-to-ones and strategy chart and all that. And that fall, like we saw, like our UF chapter started a school to prison pipeline campaign. The UCF chapter started a prison divestment campaign. And there was like development and growth, and then just reflecting on like, once I was able to get an apartment, just checking in with folks, I stopped like, I don't know, so just kind of beating myself up. And even with the little bit of training we were doing with folks, spending time, we saw the growth. You know, and people were like, all right, now that I have these tools, I'm just gonna like do a local campaign. So just like reinforcing how important training is, and how, yeah, I'm gonna go back on a mission to like just train.
One more.
I'd like to take the moment to really appreciate what you guys are doing, because not only is it like opening a whole wide like more possibilities for things that I had never even thought of, and so like all of the experiences that are in this room and that whatever you guys are bringing, it's just like opening a whole wide of like new potentials that it's just like endless, and so it's awesome. And then it's like you guys are pretty much following what you guys are teaching us in this training. So that in itself like is super amazing to realize and see. And so yeah, I'll just take the moment to really appreciate what you guys are doing and everybody else in this room that has so much that you guys are bringing here.
What's the next step that we want you to do?
Pray.
Really? You think? You really think so?
Okay. Give a high five to the person close to you. Give them a high five. Training. So team, I always I spent a lot of time on the road when I was with the network. And I used to travel 20 out of 30 days, sometimes I still do it. And I always fantasize about like having like my luggage be my facilitation luggage, you know, like have all the little toolkits and all my curriculums and stuff. And I wanted to share with you, look, doing training takes a lot of time. Let's just put it that way, right? So I want to put this in a simple term. What are some of the basic inventory that you need to start getting going with your training, okay? There's really two basic resources that you need. Really two basic resources. One, you need trainers. Can you say trainers? Trainers. Perfect. And the second one is curriculum. Can you say curriculum? Curriculum. Okay. So I'm trying to make this a little bit more simple. Is that okay? Just because I think that if we tell you systematize the whole thing, it was going to be overwhelming. Is that true or not? Yeah. But even thinking about, this is my challenge to you. What cool would it be if you developed just a 90-minute or a 2-hour session on what we went through this weekend? Just a PowerPoint yourself that you can give in and train other people. That's how it starts. Are you following me on this? Yeah. That's the challenge to get started. And that to me is the minimum. You know? Which in curriculum will be a 2 to 3 pager on the DNA. This is the minimum. You know? Then you can get to instructive, which is a 2 to 3 pager of the DNA, plus some basic practice of carrying out an action. This is how you do some recruitment calls. This is how you go to a rally. Now more skills start coming in there. Are you noticing? More information and then you get to more skills. It could be foundational, right? That includes some of the key things about doing team development. So this is just different types of curriculum. I want you to understand that not all curriculum is created equal, right? There's different ones and there's simple ones. Now, why do I say there's simple curriculum? If you're in a big moment of the whirlwind, a 1-pager about your DNA will be awesome to pass out to people. Even if you cannot train them a lot, a 1-pager is awesome.
Because something is better than nothing.
And then of course it says non-violent discipline. You can only continue to read it if you agree to non-violent discipline, you know? Make sure you do the caveat. On the trainers, there's multiple levels of how to digest training. Think about it as a ladder of engagement of training. I learned this from Marshall Gans and the folks at NOI, right? You start with your participants, which all of you are right here, and then we try to get you to be facilitators of groups. Right? You become a group facilitator. Now, but first you go to the training. The next one, you try to support people on their training. Maybe follow us on that? Then after you support, then you say, okay, now let me be a coach on the training. Now you can support other people that are facilitating the process of other people, right? And maybe you run one module or something at the training. And then you become a training, which is that you can actually run the whole thing. Does this make some sense? A lot of us already have a lot of participants. Now is the time to become facilitators. Tell them to come back to the training and to help the team guide them through the training.
Who here would be interested in being a facilitator to this sort of training?
Awesome. Awesome. We need you back. Okay? So let me break down just another chart so you understand in the training experience how it happens, right? So if you're putting a training, this is kind of basically what you need, right? All these people right here are the participants, right? Right, they're just there to build a team, right? We don't put more than six people on a team, by the way. And we'll give you the math of teams. Actually, SwarmWise talks all about the numbers of teams. Then one person is a facilitator, right? That facilitator responds to a coach, as you're seeing here, right? And all these people can join in here. And then those people are guiding into here into the training team. Is this making some sense? So we try to put training for us as a science of how to digest people. So I want you to see the different layers. But even thinking about recruiting people that will support your logistics. Is that true or not? People that everybody can participate in training. You know? And you're noticing right here, right? That even within the training team, there's different roles. Now, who has been lead host for this training? Who opens and closes the night every day? Kate, right? Did she make you feel welcome? Yes or no? Yes. She's the lead host. She's hosting you. Now, wouldn't it be? Do we have leaders that can be lead hosts? Yes or no? Yes. There are already people that are great at this, right? Lead trainer and lead coach, right? This is between myself and Paul. Is this making sense? We go through those realms on thinking about the agenda, thinking about the content. And as you notice, everything we do is in teams. All the coaches have one team. All the facilitators have another team. All the trainers, nobody does anything alone here. Why? We always need another person to know exactly what we're doing. Because if we are not there anymore, they can continue the work. Is this chart useful?
Yes.
We're giving you the secret sauce. We were not going to add that. This is bonus material. Right? This is bonus material. Yeah, this is not even in your participant guys. This is bonus material.
But we're sending this presentation.
Yes, we are. Good question. You use the momentum. So what I want us to do right now. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say this about different types of training, right? In upgrade trainings too, we did these webinars, you know, to begin with, and Kate was on it, a lot of other people, Peter Curtis was on the webinars and stuff. And Guido, who helped develop and systematize a first round, this is like the first round of these trainings, he goes to Swarthmore with Kate, and he was having so much frustration, and he said 80% of the frustrations I have is because people aren't on the same theory of change. And he spent hours and hours calling me and complaining, saying, oh my God, Paul, these people aren't on the same page. This sucks. This is horrible. I had one-on-ones with all of them and they still are crazy, okay? And guess what I said?
What would you say?
Training.
You need to do mass training. And Kate was part of that training. And tell me about it.
Yeah, so we had like a group of mostly first years who were feeling like really sort of not excited about the campaign and were, you know, like, I don't know if this is the right thing to be doing, like what should we even be working on divestment? It doesn't seem like people like us. So we went through a process of sort of we walked through some of the Bill Moyer stuff and did a series of trainings. I think the first one was on public narrative, but then did one on theory of change where we walked through the pillars of power spectrum of support kind of for the campus, and just the theory more generally around sort of pluralistic power. And did a few of these trainings and people's eyes just sort of like lit up through the course of the month or so where we were doing them kind of every week, and had that be sort of a regular part of our meeting structure. And people got committed, and one of our first years said they were going to buy Doing Democracy and Rules for Radicals out of I did, and now we have a core team.
That's the culture. Guido calls me now and says, you can't imagine how much more unity we have on our teams. I don't have to do the one-on-ones anymore because now I didn't